everyone. I'm here with my good pal Mitch Hallock. Mitch,
Hey,
how's it going,
let's
buddy?
Not push it, Mike. Let's not push it, buddy. Yes, hello, Michael. I am your good pal. We're back again.
So, Mitch, I want to start out something a little bit different. It's about a group of four who's been in both Marvel, DC, indie comics. Recently, they were just featured on Disney Plus in a 3-part series. Did you get a chance to watch Get Back, the Beatles documentary?
Oh, I did. Yeah, actually, I did. You know, I'm not a huge Beatles fan. I know all the music. I think I got 1 or 2 albums, but that was really good. I mean, that was back in December or January?
Yeah, around
It's
that-
been a while since it's been on. Yeah, no, I watched the whole thing. It was great to watch those guys. It's like behind the scenes. And the sad thing is, you know what's going to happen to everybody because, you know, history. And you see them fighting and you see, you know, things that they say. And I think, was it Paul McCartney or something when they're talking about when George Harrison leaves? That they're like, oh, in 50 years we're all going to laugh about this or something like that. And you know that's not going to come to pass. So, yeah, it's kind of bittersweet. But, yeah, why do you bring that up? Are they superheroes?
Well, they are my favorite band.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I figured, you know, why not get your take on it, and also because, you know, they were featured in both Marvel. They're in the Strange Tales.
Strange Tales.
Batman, right?
I guess Batman. I don't know, probably, but I know they were definitely in Marvel because the Thing and the Human Torch met them. They even had the Beetle wigs. Yeah. Plus, there was a Beatlemania Marvel Super Special.
That I think George Perez did.
George Perez and Tom Palmer, I think, was on that. Yeah. And then there was Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which was not their version. It was the movie that came out in the 70s, I think 78. That was supposed to be a comic. I don't know if it ever came out, but I think Perez worked on that too.
Huh.
So, yeah, that's a little bit of Beatles stuff. No, it's great. I mean, they're like the super band.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how they start off and then they just shoot up to superstardom and then they just fall apart and break up in like 10 years. It happens all the time. Like me and Ordway right now, there's a TKO, temporary restraining order or something. If he's anywhere within 100 feet of me, that's it. He's going to jail. Put the shackles on him. It's true.
I believe he's not here
I'm
today.
Exactly. See? That's the power. Don't mess with the law, man.
Or the Mitch.
Or the Mitch. That's right. You Mitch with the Mitch, you get the horns or something like that.
Now
Sure.
you mentioned good old Jerry Ordway.
Good old Jerry Ordway.
This week, and I don't want to steal a lot of the thunder that you guys did on your podcast, The Power Cosmic, but you guys did both just see the Batman.
Yes.
What were without going?
Well, here's the deal. For some reason, I had a sense of not dread, but I wasn't looking forward to this movie, and I don't know why. Like, I can tell you how many days it is until Doctor Strange, Thor, Black Panther 2. I mean, I'm a Marvel guy, but I don't know what it was about the Batman movie. I mean, I like the Batman movies. I've seen them all. I've seen them all when they all come out. But I don't know what this one was. It was just maybe because there was so much backstory. Because, I mean, this was originally Ben Affleck was supposed to be in it, and then he had to not write it, and then he was just going to star in it, and then Matt Reeves did it. Then Affleck's out of it, and then they got Robert Pattinson, and I don't know. But we went to see it, yes, and Jerry's the Pollyanna of movie reviews. He hates nothing, and he loved it. He loves the music. He already bought the soundtrack. He was telling me already today that he can't get the music out of his head. I don't know. I had flashbacks in Catholic school because Ash Wednesday was the next day, because that movie, The Batman, is dark, and it reminded me of when I had to go to Catholic school and we had to go to something called Stations of the Cross, and you had to go in there, and I went to New Haven and we had an old cathedral, and it was really old and smelly and musky and moldy, and there was bats literally flying inside the church, and it was dark, and the only light was coming through was from the stained glass windows, and the priest would come around with that whatever incense and shake the thing around, and it smelled like a funeral. And I swear to God, that's everything I felt about the Batman movie. I was having PTSD in the movie. Like, any minute the nuns were going to come out, because this movie is dark. Not dark as in tone, but there is that. It is just like gloomy. If you could take fog and make it a movie, not The Fog, but this movie is just like that. And this Robert Pattinson, he used to play a vampire. I think he's still doing it, because this dude needs to go out in the sun. He's got the pale skin. He's got the eyes all dark. He's got that emo thing going on. And Jerry goes, well, he's out all night. He's Batman. I go, yeah, but he's also a billionaire, man. He can also take care of himself and, get some vitamin D in there. But I thought the movie overall looks beautiful. Can't deny that. It's filmed beautiful. a bit too long at 3 hours. You could have cut about 40 minutes out of that, told the same story, and just been a little quicker pace. But that's just me. And especially when you get old, because I'm old if we haven't figured it out. You know, my bladder, it's not as good as it used to be. So I was like, not drinking anything. I mean, you're not supposed to go to a movie and have to fast beforehand. So I was on a water fast and liquid fast. I'm like, not drinking anything because I don't want to be going nuts and miss something. Even though I think I could have left and done my taxes and come back and nothing would have gone on because this movie is just so... I call it slow. Jerry's more professional and calls it methodical. It's the same word. But, yeah. So he loved it. A lot of people love it. Giving it 9 out of 10. I gave it a B-. I didn't think it was the best Batman movie. I liked The Dark Knight. That was my favorite of all of them. The worst was probably the George Clooney one. That was a goofball movie. But, yeah, I'd put this one right at like Dark Knight, Batman Begins, and this goes right in there because it's that same serious tone. There's no bat gadgets. There's no bat shark repellent. There's none of that goofy nonsense. There's no Justice League in this world because, you know, Superman would solve this riddle in a minute. I mean, there's a guy blowing up stuff. Okay, X-ray vision. It's that guy. See you later, Batman. I mean, it really sucks to tell a Batman story in the DC universe because he's just a guy, you know, and you've got these gods around you. So how could you not solve a simple mystery? You know, like the Flash could run around every apartment and check in everyone's drawer and find the Riddler's stuff. So, but yeah, that's it. Long-winded thing. B-. You saw it?
I did.
What did you think? You loved it. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Not that high. I did love it, and you mentioned Dark Knight. That's my all-time favorite
right.
movie.
That's the barometer.
So,
I put it against. I go, was it as good as The Dark Knight? No.
So I enjoyed it. He might be my favorite Batman.
Really?
I love the suit. I love the voice.
The suit was cool. The suit was very Gotham by Gaslight design with that collar that protects his neck from somebody like chopping it off and stuff. And did you like the fact that he was kind of bulletproof? That kind of bugged me.
I do because you mentioned.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because he's not.
He's
super,
not. He's a guy.
So he needs that kind of extra protection.
He needs a vulnerability there. If he's walking point-blank range and machine gun fire bounces off him, it kind of takes away from the fact that he's not just a normal guy. You know what I mean? It's like, well, he's bulletproof now. And I always go for the face. If you're really going to bulletproof yourself, have a little shield that comes down. I don't know. That was just...
I thought...
Yeah, right?
Joker's my number one. Riddler's like my 1A DC villain.
Yeah.
I like Dano's performance.
Yeah.
And you know, my dad and I are both kind of saying the suit though, and I know the tone they were going for.
Yeah.
I wasn't that crazy about the suit.
I didn't like the suit. The suit reminded me of a serial killer movie. I was going to say Seven, but they didn't have a serial killer movie. But it didn't go along with it, you know, because Dano's not a big guy.
No.
So why is he always in this big, like, padded outfit with the mask? And I'm like, what is that, Bane? And the Riddler doesn't wear masks like that. It's like, what? I don't know. I don't know why they went with that costume. That made no sense whatsoever.
That I agree with.
He could have just been a normal guy.
Yeah.
That would have even been creepier. He would just walk into a crowd, and you don't know who he is because he could be anybody. But if you're going to stand out with the glasses and the weird whatever, what was that? A ski mask? I don't even know. Was it duct tape or some nonsense?
It's almost It's the pictures of the
and
Zodiac.
You know what too about the Riddler? The Riddler, as far as I remember, was not like a cold-blooded killer. And this guy's over there. Spoiler alert: he's taking people out with like a tool that they use to put wall-to-wall carpet in. It's like I don't know what, a tucker or some. It looks like a blade type of things. What's up with that? I was like, hey man, that's kind of violent, you know.
I'm with you. He always beat Batman with his mind, and I did like how they incorporated riddles, and you saw Batman being the world's greatest detective. But for me, I'm with you. I want my Riddler. I want him more like Frank Gorshin.
Well, it doesn't have to be that goofy. But can I tell you my storyline? Why not? Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. It's not going to ruin the movie. There was a story back in the 60s, and you can go look it up. I think it was a one-shot, where I think it was Denny O'Neil. He told a story where Batman had a brother that was mentally ill and was in an institution. And it was only one story, never come back again. And as I'm watching this movie, there's a scene with Batman and the Riddler, and he's talking about Bruce Wayne and everything. And I had this idea, well, maybe the reason why the Riddler knows so much about the Waynes and everything that happened is he was the mentally ill brother, older brother, or maybe twin brother of Bruce Wayne that the parents disowned and institutionalized. And when the parents died and they had to take down a lot of the funding for the orphanages and the asylums and stuff, he was released onto the streets, and Bruce Wayne didn't know it. So at the end, when they're talking about it, he would have said, like, the reason why Thomas Wayne was this, he betrayed everybody. He betrayed me. He was my father. Man, that would have been a great movie. Hey, screw you, Matt Reeves. Where's my paycheck? You call Mitch Hallock right down. I'll tell you a story. I've been reading this stuff for 50 years now. I know a good story. And I'm watching that, and I lean over to Ordway and go, Riddler's going to be Batman's brother. He's like, what? I said, that's what I would have done. And, of course, that's not what happens, so don't worry about it. I didn't ruin the movie for you. But don't you think that would have been one hell of a surprise ending? You would have been like, holy crap.
It would have been neat. It would have made sense. There was clues that would make you think
And
that.
there was some little history there with Martha.
Yeah.
And it would have tied into some problems there that the Riddler could have had.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he had a vendetta against the Wayne family, because he felt betrayed and, like, left behind. And he didn't get the millions of dollars or whatever like Bruce Wayne. And, you know, he lived in a crappy apartment and Bruce lived in a mansion, and it could have been his way of, like, leveling the playing field, you know, making sure that they're all equal. That's what I would have done. What do I know? I run conventions, but
I was about to say
you like that story, though.
I would be okay with it.
Yeah?
It makes sense. It would have fit with the scheme. It's kind of in its own universe, like Joker, so they could have done something like that. And
We could talk off
Yeah.
mic. I don't want to spoil
Sure.
it, because
yeah,
there was something with dual IDs, identification cards.
yeah,
Maybe there was more than one,
maybe.
because that's what I was starting to watch that movie going,
That's not, yeah,
maybe he didn't get the right guy, because
possibly.
he had a lot of followers.
Yeah,
Don't know. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's a fine movie, but here's the other thing. Warner Brothers has no faith in this movie, because if they did, they would not be putting it on HBO on April 16th, which is only 5 weeks from now, because they would have left it in the theater to make some more money. Spider-Man is still playing in theaters. It's been out since December. It made over $1 billion. Batman is going to be able to watch on TV in 5 weeks, like I said. Why? That's money on the table. You could literally sign up for HBO Max for a week for a free trial, watch Batman. They don't get a dime. You watch it, then cancel in a week. That's box office money. That's just, you're never going to get that back.
I don't get Warner Brothers. We can
I
go
don't
on
get it
about-
either. I don't know what they're doing. They're sabotaging themselves.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway,
you asked, what do you do? You
what
put on
do I do?
conventions.
Yes,
And
I
it
do.
looks like you might have one coming
I
up in
have one.
just
Look at
couple
that. I have a
months.
new T-shirt, and I have this. It's Gamercon for the 5th year. Actually, it would have been 6 if we didn't have that little COVID incident. But yes, we're now back, and we're doing video games, and we have everything you want to get from a convention about games. We have Pokemon cards, we have Yu-Gi-Oh, we have Magic the Gathering, we have competitions, we have a cosplay contest, and I know you're a huge fan of Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know what that is. But anyway, it's a big game with the kids, the youngins.
For the kids.
And we have the guy who's the voice of Freddy himself.
Oh.
Yeah, Kellen Goff, Goff. But he's on a zillion other. You like anime, do you? He's on stuff called League of Legends anime, My Hero Academia, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, Attack on Titan. You name it, this kid's done it, and he'll be there at the Mohegan Sun on March 19th and the 20th as we get together for some fun with the video games and the other stuff, you know. So yeah, that's what I do.
And you mentioned the lovely Mohegan Sun. I think
The
you have
lovely
another event coming up.
Well, yes, I do, Michael. Now, that would be my bread and butter and my baby. That would be Terrificon. Connecticut's Terrific Comic Con happening again this year at Mohegan Sun since 2015. So what is that now? 7 years? Right? And it'll be my 10th year, actually, of doing this nonsense. I mean, this job. Because I started doing it on February 12, 2012. So I've been doing stuff like this for 12 years since I had a real job. Since I actually earned a living in like everybody else. I've been doing the circus clown bit for 10 years, buddy. But this is the one I can't wait for. Because once again, we get all the comic book artists and writers and actors from your greatest TV comic shows ever. And that's a good thing here that's happening.
And
So
you got a theme this year.
I do. If you haven't noticed and you're a Spider-Man fan, this is a recreation of Amazing Fantasy 15 because it's the 60th anniversary of the web-headed wonder this August. So I said, why not salute it? And because of that, I'm bringing in a whole slew of Spider-Man artists and writers. Everybody from Ryan Otley to John Romita Jr., you name it. Check the website. There's literally, we could sit here for 2 hours and just go over everybody. I mean, it's a Comic-Con. And for those people who write me letters and say, when are the celebrities being announced? It's a Comic-Con, okay? I have some celebrities for you people, but this is for people like you and I,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The guys that make the reason why we're in front of Cave Comics. It's the thing that powers the lights. It's like, it's about comic books, baby.
Mm-hmm.
You saw your Batman movie. Guess what? There wouldn't be no Batman movie if it wasn't for the artists and writers. Hello, comic books. That's what it's about. So, yes.
And you always bring in a great bunch. You said a slew of modern, all the way back to the Silver Age. So
Yeah,
that's one
yeah.
thing. You have one of the best artists in all the country when it comes to conventions. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. Every year you bring in
I
the best
know.
of the best, new people.
I agree with you. Yes.
And you get a sketch. A lot
You
of
get
them
a sketch, you get a
sketches.
signature, you can get some original art that they might have done too. Yeah, you never know what you're going to get. But plus you get just to talk to them.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's worth the weight in gold. Some of these guys there, you go watch a guy who, like Scott Snyder. A lot of this Batman movie is based on his Riddler Year Zero book. He was at the show in 2017. There you go.
Yeah.
Talk to the guy who came up with the ideas that they put on the screen.
He was part of an awesome panel you had every year.
That's
You also
right.
have great panels.
That's
too.
right. Him and Capullo,
Yep.
Greg Capullo were there. I remember that one. Yeah. See, it's all coming to me. And I'm not going to stop there, son. I'm going to keep trying. I tried getting Todd McFarlane this year. Todd, if you're out there, I wrote to your guy twice. Don't know what happened. Said he'd get back to me. Phone didn't ring. I don't know what else these people want, buddy. I try to email them. I call them. Nothing. So I'm working. I'm working for you guys. I'm trying to get the big guys out there. A lot of folks are going to take a break this year. Promise they'll be back next year because they were still getting their sea legs back after this pandemic for 2 years. But we're getting better. So that's cool.
Awesome.
As long as we don't get nuked by Russia, we'll be fine. Sad but true.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, I know. Wish it was a comic book sometimes.
Yeah. And looking ahead, we got a lot of stuff. You mentioned you could say when all these Marvel movies are coming out this year.
Yes.
And then even DC. This is a big year for DC.
DC,
movies.
I know. They told me in the movie before I saw it. They said this is the year of heroes. They got Black Adam. They got, not Shazam, Aquaman, and the Flash movie with my old Batman, Michael Keaton. I'm looking forward to that one. I want to see what they're going to do. So.
And Marvel, Moon Knight's this month.
Moon Knight is this month. I can't wait for Moon Knight.
It's going to be awesome. They casted Oscar Isaac. I think he's going to do really well.
Yeah, and plus they got a lot of that modern Moon Knight stuff. Because I grew up with the old Doug Munch and Bill Sienkiewicz when it was like Batman.
Yeah.
And then they got all that new stuff with Jeff Lemire and was it Bendis, and then he had Mr. Knight and all that. Yeah, so they're incorporating a lot of it. Don't you got to give it up for the Marvel shows?
Oh.
They go back and they mine little stuff. I find out stuff months later and go, oh my God, that was referred to in such and such, and you go look it up and you're like, somebody's doing their homework over there. There's a lot of research going on, But Spider-Man No Way Home, I mean, that was unbelievable. The Eternals was okay, Never liked the comic, didn't expect to love the movie, so I was not surprised. Shang-Chi was really good.
I enjoyed that too.
Yeah.
And then Star Wars, what'd you think of Book of Boba Fett?
Oh, Boba Fett. I don't know who that Boba Fett was. That wasn't my Boba Fett, but they said it was, so sure. That, another ending, if I may rewrite stories, I thought he was going to come charging in at the end, ride in the Rancor like he did, but have an army of sand people behind him, or Tusken Raiders, because he was one of them, and they were like wiping out his people, and Sonny's like, I'll be back with some reinforcements, and then you hear the horn like a freaking Ewok, and then you look, and there's a cloud of dust, and out of the cloud of dust come riding in the Tusken Raiders, and they decimate everybody, and then they just disappear. That's what I thought was going to happen. And just when they're about to get cornered, you hear a familiar sound overhead, and you look up, and it's the Millennium Falcon. And if they couldn't get Harrison Ford to do a CGI like Luke Skywalker, you could have had Chewie driving it. He could have been in town. Turns out to be that bounty hunter Wookiee was his cousin. Had to come in and save his brother. Boom, and just flew off. That's it. I would have been going nuts. The fact that they had Luke Skywalker on that show, that was better than those 3 sequels they came out with. Forget your Revenge of or Force Awakens and Last Jedi. 35 minutes of watching Luke Skywalker, I was like, I'm done. Here, take my money. Thank you. That was what I always wanted. Just wanted to see what happened. Yeah. None of this throwing lightsabers away nonsense. Oh, The Last Jedi. Still get chills thinking about that movie.
And their CGI just keeps getting better and better.
Oh, yeah.
I believe that's like almost...
Hell, I thought you were real. I mean, look at this. He's not... It's a hologram, It's amazing. The real Mike, the Beast, is gone.
You'll be able to run Terrificon and
I know, from the comfort. I'll just be sitting there, just dealing with the people. Somebody wants an autograph from Alan Davis, and he's not here. Press the button, trap door opens up, they just drop, disappear. Like the Rancor pit. I want my own Rancor pit. Get Mohegan on the phone now. I want to just sit there and press that button. And then they could just drop through the floor and, oh, well, we don't have it today. It's out of so.
What would you put in your Rancor pit?
Who or what?
Both.
Who? I got a long list. No, what? I don't know. I don't think the Rancor was as terrifying. They made it look like a big puppy dog. He's petting it behind the ears. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like having my dog Harley down there, I thought it was supposed to be this big, fearsome thing. It's a whole new age. They probably had a whole subplot about why it was the anchor,
sure.
Why was the Rancor mad, what was wrong. His mom and dad left him. He just needed a hug. Everything's got to be changed around nowadays. You can't just go for pure out craziness. You have to have like an underlining motivation for being a giant monster that eats people. Jaws was just misunderstood too, So.
He was just itchy.
Yeah, he was just he had the munchies. What are you gonna do? He just wanted a little snack. Poor shark. Feel sorry for the shark now. Nowadays, if you made Jaws now, people would be sad for the shark.
Yeah.
He was just doing his thing.
Like Starro in Justice League, or Suicide Squad,
or the Peacemaker, the what do you call the butterflies.
I was going to ask you about that.
What?
I haven't watched past the first episode.
Really?
You and Jerry mentioned something also to kind of harp on that a little bit. Gratuitous amounts of certain things are kind of sneaking their way into comic book stuff. Now, me, I'm not trying to sound
like a prude.
Yeah, but it's like comic books. When I look for comic book material, I don't kind of look for obsessive, gratuitous F-bombs and other activities.
That was the Peacemaker. They had all that. Yeah.
So, but maybe now I know you watched it. But is it still worth, you get through that first episode, if it bothered, you can talk to me or anyone else that it may have, bothered. Do you think it's worth the ride?
No, I give you that. I was put off by it, too, because the first episode, I'm always like, yikes. Because I honestly, if my wife walks in and that's going on, and she'd be like, what are you watching? And they just instantly kind of cringe and go, it's Peacemaker. Oh, God, really? And they go, well, it's a comic book, and I like James Gunn and all that. But, no, I hear you sometimes, too. There was a couple other shows that I was always cringing on, like Jessica Jones and Punisher. I was like, ooh, I know what we're talking about, but can we just tone it down a bit? But for Peacemaker, oddly enough, I'm not a big gratuitous violence guy. I don't like, what was that movie, The Squid Game? Everybody loved that. I could not. I can't take headshots. I can't take people getting their brain. It's too much of that in the real world to sit there and be entertained by that. I mean, okay, I'm a wuss if you want to call me that, but it just kind of, it has a bigger effect, I honestly think, that on the world, because people get anesthetized and they don't even feel it because they see it so much on these shows and stuff that when it happens in the real world, they just don't impact. Like, there's a war going on and, 200 people just lost their lives. Yeah, all right. No, it's not all right. It's a real thing. That's like you and me. That's not just, but they go watch it for entertainment, and then you just kind of and it's so realistic nowadays. Yeah. With everything, so you don't even know anymore what's fake and what's real. Like years ago, they'd have like a Miami Vice guy gets shot with a shotgun. You wouldn't see it. It would be off camera, and it was kind of fine. It was kind of implied. Now, you'd see the intestines blow out. You'd see the guy's eyeball hanging out. I'm like, there's a reason why I'm not an EMT. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it. But no, Peacemaker was fun for the ride. There's a story in there. It's not just gratuitous sex and violence. It's actually very character-driven, believe it or not. I know it comes across as a lot of headshots and a lot of craziness going on, but if you watch the whole thing, it's actually a good story.
Because I like John Cena. I'm a wrestling
was great.
fan.
He was great. The whole cast was great. Jennifer Holland was great. Steve Agee, the big guy there, the beard, he's also in Guardians of the Galaxy. Was also supposed to be a Terrificon this year, but maybe next year. That's another story. But the whole cast is fantastic, and it ties into the Amanda Waller Suicide Squad, which ties into the Justice League, so it's all part of the Snyder universe type of thing. So yeah, if you're a fan of that, spoiler alert, they show up in it.
That got spoiled for me.
Yeah, I know. I hate the internet, don't you?
Yeah.
Like the next day, like Mandalorian and all that stuff. Thank God I would get up at 4 or 5 in the morning for the radio show that I'm on, and I would watch it, because by 9 o'clock, it's all over the internet. You can't even open up because these jerks out there like to post the spoiler like right in the headline. So if you're just scrolling down your news feed, it's like, Boba Fett died. You're like, what? No! Oh, come on! And then you go to the movie, you're like, all right. Gotta go wait for that now, you know?
Because I saw Justice League trending, and I'm not thinking anything of it. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, maybe news on the Snyder movie?
Oh, and it was the fact that they were in the Peacemaker. Yeah. Yeah, whenever I see that trending stuff, I get nervous. I go, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
And then you go to click on it. So, oh, no, I ruined the whole story for myself. But, yeah, long story short, Peacemaker's worth the ride. Plus, a lot of the elements that our friend Paul Kupperberg wrote in his run on Peacemaker and Vigilante show up in that. And they actually said the inspiration for the Peacemaker show was like, what if the Red Brown Captain America from the 70s was put in this hardcore sex and violence world? So there's a little tie into that too. And I was like, hey, I know Reb. He was at the show. So, because James Gunn's 55 years old. I'm like 3 weeks older than James Gunn. So he and I have like the same like pop culture references, and we watched the same junk growing up. So it's kind of interesting to see how he made his fortunes on that stuff. And I'm over here doing this. Somewhere, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway. What else you got? You buying any new books, buddy?
Books.
You're always buying books.
What's a recent pickup? I got a cool Mike Mayhew variant cover. He did
what?
For that Batman Who Laughs series that Snyder and Jock did a few years ago. I think that character's cool.
Yeah.
He did a really cool homage of the classic Neil Adams Batman 251 with the Joker holding
the card.
Yeah. So this variant has it's the Batman Who Laughs where the Joker is. It's got a big card and Harley's on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a really.
Where'd you pick it up? On your travels?
The app called Shortbox. I've mentioned it on my channel before. We may have talked about it a few times, but yeah, they do all slabs.
Yeah.
But they have a good selection. You can make offers like eBay. It's not as much of the fees like eBay. It's a really cool app, and you can get lost in there too because you search Superman and then you see all the Superman books that people have.
I go to there's Instagram. There's this Instant Grails, whatever. Every day I'm just like, oh my God, drooling at the books they post up there, like, oh, look at that, I have that, and then you look at the price, you're like, yikes, you know. But no, it's cool. It's very cool. I love collecting comics and stuff. And I just remembered J. Scott Campbell. I got to go on my thing. I probably already missed it. He just put out a bunch of Spider-Man 1 covers today. Spider-Ham, Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales. He did a whole thing, the punk rock Spider-Man. So yeah, I'm gonna go check that out because I love his artwork. He's one I always want coming to the show. J. Scott Campbell. Another one I wish we had at the show, but not today. A lot of shows, everything came back.
Yeah.
That's another thing I'm dealing with here. Last year I was like the only kid on the block that was going to do a show. This year everybody's coming back like out of the woodwork, so everybody that hasn't gone is being picked up. So it's hard to grab unique new guests, but you know, we will. I'll have them there.
You always do.
Tony Daniel, there's a little snipe prize. Yeah.
Awesome.
Here's the other thing too. You know, it's like March 5th today.
Yeah.
The show's April, May, June, July. In 4 or 5 months, if I throw it all out there now, what am I going to talk about? People are like, oh, I want to know who's coming. I go, yeah, all right. I mean, I have all the contracts at home, but, you know, ruins the surprise. Don't you like when I just, like, drop them out of nowhere? You even say, like, you're looking on social media, oh, look, Mitch just dropped Ryan Otley today. It's like, yeah, here you go.
That's the beauty of social media. You're in your feed, and then you say, oh, that guy's going to be at Terrificon.
There you go. And if you knew it all now, odds are you wouldn't remember.
Those little things that you do the day sometimes.
That's the little things. It does. That's right. That's a nice way of putting it. I'm just helping people get through the day, you know? All the nonsense going on in the news. Isn't it nice to look forward to something good instead of, like, nastiness every day? So, you know, that's my job. Thank you. You're just giving me a new purpose in life. I'm here to make people look forward to something. If my wife could hear that, she'd be like, really? I look forward to you cleaning the house. How about that? Maybe you could like clean up some dishes or do some laundry, maybe? Almost 30 years, 29 years marriage. Wow.
Congratulations.
Almost. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
She's going to kill me.
So, yeah, Mitch, anything before you anything else? You know, you got your 2 shows
I got
coming
my 2
up.
shows.
They can find you on all over the social media.
All over the place, the radio, social media. Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure on YouTube. We just did a thing about the Swamp Thing yesterday.
Awesome.
Me and Jerry on the Power Cosmic podcast is driving around endlessly talking about movies and pizza and beer. And then, I don't know, Indiana Jones, I'm still on that podcast. That's coming out next year. Imagine that after all these years. Jeez, he's going to be 80 years old.
Yeah, I hope the MC really doesn't go...
Use it as a crutch, and
Yeah.
every time they, instead of thinking of a story, they go, oh, multiverse.
Yep.
Just going to grab that.
Oh, that was a variant, you know.
Well, you know what's good about it? They give the opportunity to do stories like Marvel Zombies, which in the books are all this alternate worlds,
That's
and
true.
they just pluck people from. But, yeah, I don't want to go to a movie every time and go, oh, look, they got the Phoenix from the X-Men movie.
Yeah.
Well, which Phoenix do they have? Oh, well, it's from the other X-Men movie. It's like, well, okay, I guess. You know, they started doing it, actually, with the X-Men movies years ago with Wolverine, but no one really notices that.
Yeah, 'cause
Like when
their timelines are...
he would go back and change time, and you're like, wait a minute, what's happening now? Because he saved Jean Grey in the last, was it Logan? No, it was the one before Logan, Days of Future Past.
Yep.
She wasn't Dark Phoenix. But then they have that other X-Men movie series with the younger folks that were from first class. So what is that timeline now? Because if you look at it, Magneto was in World War II. He's not a guy that's like 80 or 90 years old in these X-Men movies. He's like, 40. So the whole thing was messed up. There's no way he's going to turn into Ian McKellen from whatever his name is. I can't think of it right now, but sure. Fassbender, yeah. No, it's too much. But it is what it is. You see that, speaking of Patrick Stewart and Professor X, he's going to be in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Or is he?
Or is he?
You don't know. He could be playing a different character. Doesn't have to be Professor X. We'll find out. 2 months from today, right? Yeah.
You know who it could be?
Who?
Mephisto. I had to...
You had to say that. Everybody's Mephisto. Mephisto's Mephisto, I heard. Really? That's a spoiler alert. Yeah. Wait, the devil was the devil? No! You know who's Mephisto? Jesus.
That'd be something.
You heard it here first. How about that storyline? Yeah. That'll screw you
Someone
up,
needs
huh?
to write that.
Forget that Riddler story I just came up with. The better one right now. Mitch Hallock says Jesus was Mephisto. Jaw drop. Pick it up off the floor. Put it back right there. Yeah, I just lost all those attendees coming to the show. I don't know. It's crazy. I'm sober, too. Imagine if I was liquored up and doing this. Whoa.
Nowhere was closed or open after the Batman.
No! We were like devastated because you're like, let's go and talk about the movie, and everything was closed. We're driving around. I go, what is this? Everything's closed. We're going to go to a diner, just try to find something. But it's true. That's the problem. My son's going to see Batman tomorrow at 11 o'clock. So how many showings can they do a day now? 3?
That's right.
Because it's 11 to 3 hours, so it gets out at 2? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got to clean the theater because people throw stuff like slobs all over the place. I don't know what that's about. And then the next one is 2:30, 3 hours, 5:30. The next one comes out at 6, and then 9, and then that's it. You got 3 shows. They're not going to make a lot of money on that thing.
Unless they put it on multiple theaters or...
They're going to have to, though, huh?
Yeah.
But that's the problem with 3-hour movies. You can't show as many as a 2-hour movie in a day. So, I don't know.
But, Mitch,
I don't know. What did you think? Was it worth 3 hours? Was there anything that you would have cut?
see, coming out of it, I thought if I had the, my nitpick, I guess
Yeah.
it was too long. But then I was trying to think, what would I have cut out?
Alfred, I think, didn't do anything for
They
that
could
movie.
have had more Alfred or worked him differently.
Yeah, he didn't do much. And I thought Jeffrey Wright was wasted as Commissioner Gordon because you didn't know he could have been anybody. He could have been like, hey, Batman, look. I'm like, what's the point of bringing this big actor in for nothing? I mean, the other one, what's the one I'm thinking of?
Simmons?
Not Simmons.
Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Commissioner Gordon was in those things the whole time. You always knew about it. You knew he had a wife, a family. He talked about Batman when he wasn't on the screen. There was always Commissioner Gordon. It's like he didn't even need to be there. He really had one big scene when the cops were all about to beat up Batman. That was about the only big Commissioner Gordon moment, I thought, in the thing. But
and
that's it.
I heard you say this. We kind of agreed with this too.
Catwoman?
Well, she was great. She was phenomenal.
Oh, she's great. But what?
There was a lot of, speaking of violence, the whole chase scene, as cool as it was.
Oh, that truck scene?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my God, because there's one who's been on the I-95 and plenty of traffic jams. When I saw those trucks flowing over, I go, hey, Batman, did you just kill about 30 people back there? Because boom, bang, boom, scratch, and everyone's, I'm like, I'm not clapping. I'm feeling bad for that poor guy that got squished or set on fire in that oil tanker. See, too much reality. And for what, though? What was he chasing down the Penguin? I was sitting there going, okay, so what was that about? What what did he get out of it? The Penguin's lying upside down in the car. It's all, and Batman catches it. Okay, you couldn't get a big fat guy? Come on, Batman. Let's get real, all right? I just sat there. Why is he chasing him? Jerry's like, he's getting away. I go, yeah, but he knows where he works. It's not like he's not going to go back to work tomorrow. What's the big point? I know. Because they have to do it. They're looking at the movie going, oh, we need a big action sequence here. Car chase. We need to bring the Batmobile. Because the Batmobile didn't do another damn thing after that. It's just like, oh.
I liked it.
Yeah, but it was just there. The motorcycle. Why didn't we do something more with the motorcycle? You know, he showed up with that. I go, where's that? And he doesn't have a Batcave. It's like in the bottom of a subway tunnel. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like nobody else is ever going to find that subway tunnel?
I'm throwing this out. I'm throwing the year 2 kind of thing as my kind of argument for that. I think he's only going to expand. It'll get bigger. He'll get maybe even bigger.
Well, was it the original Wayne Mansion? Wasn't that turned into the orphanage? Because it was abandoned or something, right? And there was like druggies living in it?
Yeah.
Or was that, I thought that was his father's house that he looked over and then he went there and there was all these, they weren't on, I don't know what drug they called it in the movie, some kind of stoner stuff. And they were all like in the corners there. So I thought, that's Wayne Manor? It's a crack house now?
See, that's why I do want to see it again because I think I want to see what I missed or maybe if I can pick up on things.
Well, apparently there's a whole thing about the seawall not being funded. Because I'm like, how did all that come in? Because they threw it away like, oh, the water's going to come through the seawall. But there's like signs in the background, like newspaper clippings, like funding canceled for seawall project. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, but if it's that subtle. But that was definitely taken from the comics.
Oh yeah.
No Man's Land. Yeah, right. So that's there. And now you know they're going to have to set it up.
Yeah.
As he's the big hero and he's leading people out with the light at the end.
Yeah.
A little over the top, but sure, you know. But Batman, you know who's not Mephisto? Batman. Because it's in a DC book.
So he's Trigon.
Oh, there you go. Well, let's start that rumor. Get those Trigon book sales up. Teen Titans right away. No, I don't know. It was fun. Like I said, you're going to see it again?
I want to. You said it's going to be on HBO Max.
I know,
soon,
right?
It's kind of like I might not have rush. Who knows? But I'm excited. I'll see another one. I know you will, but did it leave you wanting more? Maybe less of runtime, but did it?
Well, I saw there's another character. You know, they could. You know what would also freaked everybody out? Again, put spoiler alerts all over this. Spoiler alert! Don't listen. At the end of the movie, if the camera pulls back, and the Joaquin Phoenix Joker was talking to him, boom! Heads would have exploded right there when he was talking to Riddler at the end. And they just and you just saw a profile. You didn't even have to show the whole thing. Just let it know it's Joaquin Phoenix. Tie the two of those things together. Boom.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
That would have been.
But it wasn't.
No.
Still could have been, though. I mean, you don't know.
You never know.
It could have been Two-Face as well, because I said that to Jerry.
Because
the way the face looked and the hair, I said, that's Two-Face. Jerry goes, no, it's a Joker. I go, is it?
I was with you.
Because Maroni was in it. That's what I said earlier. Boss Maroni is the one who throws the acid and makes Two-Face. And the fact that he was already out of the picture, and then they had that character at the end, and that you didn't see, I said, that could be Two-Face. I think this is a misdirection here. Just like the opening, when you were watching the family getting ready, and I go, oh, Manon, we're going to do the whole Wayne thing. And then it was the mayor, Mayor Mitchell. And I was like, oh, there you go. So it was just like, look over here. I'm really doing this, you know, a little sleight of hand.
Play devil's advocate, and he could be throwing up smoke screens. Matt Reeves did come out and say he explained who that character is, and it's who we think it is. But
it is?
You know how these Hollywood directors and actors...
Yeah, because you think there's going to be a Joker, too? With Joaquin?
Apparently, yeah, and they want Lady Gaga in it.
For what? As Harley Quinn?
That's the rumor. I wouldn't... I like keeping it...
You know, there's other characters. I said that to Jerry. There's other people in the Batman. He's got one of the biggest rogues gallery in the world. We don't have to keep going to the same bucket of villains all the time, like Penguin, Riddler, Joker, Catwoman. That's it. Oh, maybe Two-Face. Wouldn't it Man-Bat be cool?
Mad Hatter.
Mad Hatter, Man-Bat.
He did say he'd like to do Freeze in a future movie.
Mr. Freeze would be cool, too. But there's more people than that, too, yeah. The Kite Man would be fantastic. Calendar Man.
Eraserhead.
Let's go. But, no. And Ra's al Ghul, maybe, well, they kind of did him a lot.
Kind of Raj'd out.
Yeah, they did him on the Gotham show. They did him in the movie with Liam Neeson. And, I don't know.
But you're right.
Batman. And Robin, you think Robin would show up? I thought Robin was one of those kids in the beginning already. that backed out.
I
That was a
almost said
Joker
this.
face. I said, watch that kid
He's-
turn out to be Robin or join up.
They focused on him too long, too many
Yeah,
times.
right?
I think he's going to be a...
That's right.
That's-
That's what I was thinking.
That's a Chekhov's gun, or I think it's Chekhov's gun. If you show a gun on a wall in a movie,
You're gonna see it.
You're
Yeah.
gonna see it.
Oh, it's always that. Oh, please. Whenever you're watching a movie, it's like, let me write that down. Oh, what's that diary for? Oh, no reason. And then at the end, hey, good thing you wrote those things down in that diary. It's like, didn't see that coming down Main Street, but yeah. I don't know. What other movies, franchises are there? Marvel, DC?
We talked a little Star Wars.
Star Wars. I don't know what's up with the new Star Wars movies. I think the only one they had planned was the Rogue Squadron, the X-Wing Squadron stuff. That Patty Jenkins was doing.
And Wonder Woman 84. And
I don't know. Where's Wonder Woman 3?
I don't even know if that's a thing anymore.
I don't know either.
I think she got... Warner Brothers doesn't want to work with her or something. I don't know.
Patty Jenkins?
Yeah.
They want to work out good.
Yeah. You would think... See, that's why I don't get these reports about after Flashpoint, it's going to be a whole...
Oh, really?
Reset. Kind of like their version of like a Crisis where... There's like Wonder Woman and Aquaman are still going to be Momoa and Godot, but they might be in a one universe.
See,
and they're going to get rid of Superman and Batman, and we're going to have that.
As good as Spider-Man was, it set up a bad precedence because they can go, oh look, we could say all those movies still existed and just pick and choose what we want to do, and that kind of ruins storytelling. You know.
Agreed. I couldn't agree more.
I mean, I loved seeing Tobey Maguire.
Oh, yeah.
That was my favorite part of the movie when he walked through. But if we're going to play that card, there's no sense of danger anymore, you know?
Don't use it as the crutch.
No, because I'm like, okay, he cures the Green Goblin. So what does that mean now? That there's a whole alternate timeline now? That there's no Harry Osborn becomes the Green Goblin with a scarred face? Because when did they get plucked out of their timeline?
Yeah.
Like, does the Doc Ock go back before he drowns? Is that the same one? Is that because the Electro's totally different looking?
Yeah.
I don't know. There was more. As much as I enjoyed it, it gave me more headaches trying to figure it all out. Like, where exactly do they drop them back in? You know? And then they made so much money on it. I heard that they were already looking at yet another movie where they can get Toby, Andrew, and Tom Holland together because they're like, hey, that made $1 billion. Let's do this again. But that ruins the specialness of it. It's like, we're going to do this all the time now? The Spider-Verse movies, they already have that cartoon.
Yeah.
Which they're doing another one that's coming out this year. You forgot to mention that one.
That's right.
Part 1. Because it's a 2-part movie. I was like, oh, with Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Who they should have thrown in the Spider-Verse just for the hell of it at that point. So, I don't know.
And there's an A24. I don't know if you got a trailer. There's a movie now that's kind of like alternate timelines and are kind of multiverses are going into other media.
No.
I forgot the name of it.
Is it a movie or a Netflix movie?
It's going to be a movie.
Oh.
I forgot. It's about this woman and she finds out there's different variations that could help save like the world and stuff.
Oh,
so
really?
now,
Yeah, so now multiverse is the new thing now. Everybody's doing a multiverse movie.
Yeah.
Whatever. We'll go see it. What else are we going to do?
Exactly.
Right?
We need something to get us through to Terrificon, right?
Right? I know.
So, once again, where can they go to find out about Terrificon, Mitch?
Terrificon.com. Where is it? Somewhere here. Somewhere. Terrificon.com, and then coming up in CT Gamercon next 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today. March 19th to the 20th. July 29th to the 31st. All at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. Get off your butt. Come on down. What else are you going to do?
Links are going to be in the description. And
everything.
Mitch, as always a blast. Thank you so much.
You're welcome there, Michael.